At 50, the real midlife crisis isn't a sports car, it's your finances. Hi, I'm Larry Sprung with Midlife Financial, and I want to be very reassuring about how I frame this because turning 50 is not a financial emergency. It's just a shift in perspective. It's the moment you officially move from the accumulation phase of life to the preparation phase. And today we're talking about 5 core pillars that need a complete checkup once you hit this milestone. We're covering your retirement savings, your debt, your insurance, your estate documents, and your day-to-day cash flow. We will look at exactly what changes in your 50s, and by the end of this episode, I'm giving you an incredibly simple checklist that you can use this week to make sure your plan is completely on track. I will also share a story about a client who didn't have a financial crisis, and he thought he was in perfect shape. But somewhere around the age of 50, the questions changed. A few years ago, a gentleman came into our office shortly after his 50th birthday. I'll call him Brian. Brian wasn't the person most people think of when they picture someone needing financial advice. He was successful. The house was paid off. The kids were nearly through college with no college debt, and he had built a substantial retirement savings. No credit card debt, no financial crisis. In fact, he and his wife almost canceled our first meeting. And he said, "Larry, I think we're doing pretty well." And honestly, he was. But then I asked him a question. "Brian, what keeps you up at night?" He sat there for a second, and then he laughed. "Nothing really." And that answer caught my attention, because after doing this for decades, I've learned something. The people who should be worried are usually not, and the people who are worried often don't need to be. So we started talking, not about investments, not about returns, about life. His parents were getting older. His kids would soon be financially independent. Retirement wasn't 30 years away anymore. It was visible. For the first time, Brian found himself standing in the middle of 3 generations, helping aging parents, adult children learning how to navigate life. And then I asked another question. "Brian, if something happened to you tomorrow, would your family know exactly what to do?" The room got quiet, because for all the success he'd created, he didn't know the answer. Were the estate documents current? Not exactly. Did the insurance still fit the life he was living? Maybe. Were the retirement accounts positioned for the next chapter rather than the last one? He wasn't sure. Have you made your financial life simple enough that your family could navigate it without you? Not really. And that's when Brian said something I'll never forget. He said, "Larry, I thought we were in great shape. I just didn't realize how many loose ends we have." Because somewhere around 50, the questions change. It stops being about, am I building wealth? And it becomes, is everything I've built actually working together? Because success isn't measured by the size of your accounts. Because around 50, it's not just how much have we built. It's, can we use what we've built to buy back time, create options, reduce stress, help the people we love, and enjoy the life we've worked so hard for. That's why financial checkups matter, not because something's broken, because wealth without clarity can still create hesitation. And after decades of building, your money should give you more freedom, not more uncertainty. Let's jump into point 1. What changes after 50? So what actually changes the day you blow out 50 candles? On a practical level, the government acknowledges that your retirement timeline is compressing. The Internal Revenue Service opens up what they call catch-up contributions. This means you are legally allowed to stuff thousands of extra dollars into your 401k and IRA every single year above the normal limits. But the biggest change isn't the tax code, it's psychological. When you're 35, retirement may be an abstract concept. It is something way out on the horizon. When you are 55, it's a visible destination. You can see it. You could count the number of working years you have left on your fingers. That means your tolerance for market volatility changes, and your focus has to shift from just growing wealth to actively protecting it. But the most profound changes aren't found in the tax code. They happen between your ears. Behavioral finance shows that turning 50 triggers significant psychological and cognitive shifts in how we handle money. The first trend we see is intensified loss aversion. The psychological pain of losing money now feels roughly twice as strong as the joy of making the same amount. This often causes pre-retirees to panic and hoard cash at the expense of the long-term growth they still fundamentally need. The next is the trap of trying to fit into the status quo. While your overall financial wisdom is sharper than ever, the brain's comfort with complex, real-time financial tracking and rapidly changing market feedback naturally begins to slow down. Because processing this new data takes more effort, we often default to the status quo bias, sticking to old investment choices even when our life stage screams for an update. The last trend I wanted to highlight is vulnerability. As our brain ages, it experiences change, and some of these changes include how the brain assesses risk, processes emotions, and even evaluates new offers that can make older adults more susceptible to aggressive marketing or financial fraud. Recognizing these shifts isn't about admitting weakness, it's about building smarter guardrails for your future self. Number 2, the 5 pillars that need an audit. To get a true picture of where you stand, you have to look closely at 5 specific areas of your financial life. First is retirement savings. Are you actually maximizing those catch-up opportunities, and is your asset allocation appropriate for a shorter timeline? Second is debt. Entering retirement with a heavy mortgage or credit card bills is like running a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. We need a strategic plan to shed that weight. Third is insurance. The massive term life policy you bought when your kids were toddlers might not make sense anymore if the kids are grown and the house is paid off. You might be overpaying for protection you no longer need. Fourth is estate documents. If your will or healthcare proxy was written when your children were in diapers, it's completely out of date. And fifth is cash flow. You need to know exactly what it costs to run your life today so we can protect what it will cost to run your life tomorrow. A study published by CNBC revealed that a staggering number of people over 50 have not updated their basic estate plans or reviewed their insurance needs in over a decade, leaving them exposed to unexpected tax and legal hurdles. Here's just a few things you can do today as you're thinking through this point. Request an insurance policy review. Contact your insurance agent to audit your life and disability policies, ensuring you aren't paying for coverage you've outgrown. Map out a debt freedom timeline. List your debts from highest interest rate to lowest and build an accelerated repayment schedule designed to clear the slate before retirement. Pull your existing estate folders. Retrieve your physical or digital copies of your will, trust, and healthcare power of attorney to confirm they're accessible and ready for evaluation. Number 3, your 5-step checklist for this week. You don't need to overhaul your entire life in a single weekend, but you do need to start. Here's a simple, human-friendly checklist you can run through over the next few days. Verify your catch-up numbers. Call your HR department or log into your workplace portal and make sure you are utilizing the extra savings limit. Run a debt inventory. List out every single debt you owe by interest rate so we can target the toxic ones first. check your beneficiary designations. Log into your bank accounts and retirement portals to make sure the names listed match your current wishes. Go and locate your estate documents. Find your will, your trust, and your medical directives, and just look at the date on the front page. Track your actual spending. Don't guess. Look at your last 3 bank statements and write down your true monthly overhead. As you're building out your checklist, some of these steps may seem daunting, so look for ways to automate and simplify this process. Start by implementing rule-based systems like target date funds or automated rebalancing to reduce the emotional burden of making day-to-day choices in volatile markets. You could even look for a financial advisor. Collaborating with an independent financial advisor can act as a behavioral guardrail against panic selling or ill-timed market entries. And plan for your future self. Counter the bias of favoring today over tomorrow by creating highly specific, tangible visions of your retirement. This helps shift the focus from the immediate anxiety of money management to long-term financial security. Turning 50 is not a finish line. It's just the start of the second half of the game. The goal is not to live in fear of the future or worry about the timeline. The goal is to approach it with total clarity. When you take control of these 5 pillars, you stop playing defense and you start playing offense. You ensure your money is working just as hard for you as you work to earn it over the last few decades. That's not complex financial engineering. That's just good stewardship. If you're over 50 and you realize your financial plan is running on autopilot, let's have a real conversation, because the strategy that worked for you decades ago is likely not the strategy that will deliver the retirement you deserve today. At Midlife Financial, we help you audit where you stand today and build a precise, intentional roadmap for years ahead. If you're ready to take a fresh look at your savings, your protection, and your plan, we invite you to reach out to us at Midlife Financial to start that conversation. If you found this helpful, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more insights on planning with intention. I'm Larry Sprung with Midlife Financial, where we strive to bring joy to your money journey. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I'll see you next time.